This Lego set is awesome. It's one of the most popular sets that Lego have released all year. It's sold out during one of the recent double points events as a £100 book Nook. And I'm fairly sure 6 months ago, people didn't even know what a book Nook was. But it's got 5 very, very cool Sherlock Holmes themed minifigures. And when you open the set out, rather than it being this folded up thing that you'd put on your bookcase, it becomes this really cool Baker Street scene that looks like it would fit really nicely into a Lego city. The only problem, of course, is it's still only about that thick. So I think we probably need to turn it into a modular building, don't we? Luckily, Brick Artisan on Rebrickable has got us covered and has put together a design that takes this set, some extra pieces, and turns it into a really cool corner modular. This is what it should look like when it's finished, and I'm going to attempt to build it in this video. I've not built the normal version of the set yet because I didn't want to have to build it and then take it apart, but I do think it looks cool. I might even get a second one of these at some point and actually put it on a bookshelf like I'm supposed to. But as you can see, we don't have a lot of space in our house for books because the house is full of Lego. In order to build the set, obviously we've had to buy the set itself. That's cost us £109.99. We've then needed an additional 997 pieces, which does bring the total build up to 2,321 pieces, and those 997 pieces have been bought across 3 different Bricklink orders. Including postage on those Bricklink orders, we've spent £10.24 on order 1, £87.89 on order 2, and £24.04 on order 3. And then on top of all of that, we also had to buy the instructions themselves, which were $15, might have been euros. Either way, I've converted it to Great British pounds, and it was £11.66. And that means the total cost of this corner modular is coming in at £243.82. So a little bit more than a normal Lego corner modular, but it is a Sherlock themed one. And as we've seen with the Italian Riviera that's just been announced, modular style sets are getting more expensive. So it's coming in at less than that. And I think it's going to look awesome when it's done. So without further ado, let's get building. That does mean we have to sort all these pieces, plus these pieces, and a massive box full of pieces as well. I did say it was 3 orders. So I need to sort all this into some kind of sensible arrangement, and then we can start building. Voila, all sorted. I forgot to factor in the cost of the Mills plate as well. I did include the base plate. I ordered that off of Bricklink, but I guess we have to add about an extra £10 or £15 to my price estimate to account for the 2x2 bricks and the 16x16 plates I have used for the Mills plate. But still, a Mills plated modular with 5 minifigs that is kind of licensed for about £250 is still good, as long as the build is good. Let's find out if the build is good. And I know I'll probably get some questions about the bright blue base plate that I've decided to go with, but I had a bunch of these blue 16x16 plates from when I ambitiously thought I was going to be starting the C in the Lego City much earlier. And looking at the design, it's going to be covered entirely. So rather than using up some of my very valuable grey ones that are needed for base plates where bits are going to be exposed, I figured let's get some of these blue ones used because it's too light blue for the C anyway. And let's face it, I'm not going to be starting the C anytime soon. But as you can see, the set does very quickly start to take shape, but he's built in a weird way. It's kind of walls first and then the middle. And there we are, roughly 90 minutes in. Some pretty good progress. We've got the little corner piece in for the pavement, so we can slide it straight into the Lego City. We then have the little cobblestone bit out the front on each side as well. And then we've got this little lobby area that leads up to this staircase that will take us up to the next floor. And then there's going to be another little shop in here, which I think we're putting a kitchen in. And then I think this is just going to have a tiny little like shop front on it, which is why we've got a few bits on display in there. So it is slowly but surely taking shape, but that's it for this session. I'll travel through time and carry on, I guess. And I know what you're thinking, folks, on these big multi-day videos where I'm building a whole project start to finish and have gaps between clips. what on earth am I doing in those gaps? And don't worry, that's where today's episode sponsor, Readly, comes in. Readly is basically like the Netflix for magazines. It contains over 8,000 newspapers and magazines. So no matter what mood I'm in when I finish a long building session, there's always something for me to read. A typical go-to for me will always be the latest issue of Blocks magazine. And as you can see, I'm currently reading the review for this very set that I'm building, the Sherlock Holmes book Nook. They gave it a 74 out of 100. I'd be really interested to see what rating they'd give it as the modular version that we're building, but I am going to bookmark that article to make sure that I can come back to it really easily when I finish the build and see if I agree. Getting back to my bookmarks is super easy. As you can see, they're all here at the top of the page, and you can see that I've got various bits and bobs, often from Blocks magazine, but also the promotions and relegations from non-league football, which is important for my Football Manager save. And because all of the back issues are included in your Readly subscription as well, I can go back ages, for example, do a December issue, and one day I will definitely build this luxury Pokeball. And because I am a man of many interests, as you can see, we've got football, how it works, PC, Macs, various gaming things, gadgets. For me to subscribe to each one of those magazines individually would cost an absolute fortune and lead to roughly 3 forests worth of paper being destroyed, just so that I could have a little bit of something to read, which, if I'm not careful, might lead to me buying yet another gaming handheld off of the back of this article from Edge magazine. But let's just pretend we haven't seen that, eh? Because I don't think Anna's going to let me get away with buying a third one. I think Readly is awesome, and I think you will too. So why don't you give them a try? There's a link at the top of the description down below that will let you download the app and get 2 months of free access. So you can try out all 8,000 of those magazines. And then if you do manage to read all 8,000 of them in less than 2 months and feel the need to cancel, you have the flexibility to do that at any time without it costing you anything. So once again, that link is down there at the top of the description for 2 months of free access to Readly. Give it a try. Let me know in the comments what you're going to be reading on there. And meanwhile, I'm going to go and try out the Collector's Gazette, because apparently I don't already collect enough things. They've got a section on comic books. I don't know if it demonstrates my level of commitment to the channel or my obsession with Lego, but this is the day that we went down to London for Hyper Japan and the St Albans shopping video that you probably saw a day or two ago. It's 8 PM. I've just finished editing videos and I've got to do some building. So let's crack on with this. I'm recording this voiceover bit having already finished the build. I think what we're doing is effectively building the original set once we've got this little bit of structure in. So we've got the normal modular base plate, but then the little cobblestone base plate from the actual set is on there as well. And then we have the 2 sides of the wall that are the facade bit from the book Nook. We kind of build them separately from the interior, and the interior is the extra bit that is kind of added on as part of the rebrickable, just to give it some oomph. You can see there's that little bit of a gap, almost like a false wall, between where we've got the facade bit and then just the normal box interior thing. It's weird to explain and was certainly weird to build, but the finished thing, it does make sense then. It's a very clever build. Brick Artisan, they're quite good at this, aren't they? Goodness me, it's a good one. Well, a couple more hours in and it is taking shape nicely. We have that side of the corner and then we move around to that side of the corner. So we've got the front entrance to Sherlock's apartment, flat, I guess, whatever you want to call it there. And then we've got a bookshop around the front. And then we've also got this little kitchen. I don't know if it's a kitchen or a cafe area, and then the staircase going up to the upstairs apartment, and it all looks awesome. Very happy with how it's looking so far, but it is bedtime, so we're gonna have to put it to one side and carry on with it another day. But yeah, that's looking cool. I like this a lot. I've just picked this up again after a couple of days of not touching it, and it does look so cool. I've actually had a look at one of these in the Lego store built, and it very much is. This is one side of the book Nook, this is the other side, and then I guess we're just adding the interior and making it 3-dimensional, which is why the level of detail on it is as cool as it is, because it's largely the detail that's lifted straight out of the actual Lego set. But it looks awesome. and I want to get it finished and in the city. So let's crack on. And this is always a sign that a build is a good build, when I just get about halfway through like I am here and then just crack on and finish the whole thing in one session. This time lapse you're watching now, probably about 90 seconds to 2 minutes long, actually represents probably about 4 hours of building time. And again, as with a lot of these rebrickables and mocks, because I'm awful at sorting the pieces in advance, you could probably shave half of that time off if you just had the pieces sorted properly to begin with. But you can see we've got that bottom layer sorted with the 2 exterior bits, and we have to add in this kind of corner piece that's not there on the original. In the original, that bit in the middle that's kind of bent with the window that sticks out with the turn in it, that's just a straight piece between the 2 side pieces on the original one. So it's very clever the way that's been bent around to make it into a corner modular. And then once we've got all the sides on, it's just adding all of this interior, and the upstairs of the interior can be completely removed from the rest of the build so that you can get access to all of the goodies that are inside. So you'll see once we get to that point in a second that I kind of put the modular to one side and build the interior separately. And we're just doing this final little bit of the pillar that goes on the front to finish off this corner piece. And then once that's in, this is the upstairs of the interior, all built completely separately. So it can then just be plopped in, and then you plop the walls on and plop the top off. And I didn't think I'd be saying plop 3 times when I started doing the voiceover for this video, but you know, sometimes the voiceovers get away from me a little bit, especially when they're 2 minutes long, because in my infinite wisdom, I decided to build for 4 hours straight. But the detail that's been done on that interior is very, very cool. I think that is all Brick Artisan's original design. And then we take these original side pieces from the book Nook and just slap a plate on top, and we're done. And one mammoth building session later, and as you can see, we are done, and it looks absolutely awesome. It's kept so many of the original features from the book Nook. Obviously, we got all the minifigs with it as well, which is a really nice touch. But it is basically, rather than having it flat and then fold in that way and have this be the outside of the book, it's basically just folded it the other way. We've still got the outside of the book, which, yeah, might be a little bit tacky if you were just going to have this stood on a shelf, but obviously we're going to have it in the city, so there's going to be buildings against the side of that, so it doesn't really matter what the sides of the buildings are. And some of the official modulars look more of a mess than that on the sides. The roof is a little bit flat because obviously the design has tried to not go completely bananas with parts, and there needed to be a lot of parts to add all of the interior stuff. But we have this awesome little corner area, kept so many of the original shapes and features, and having the minifigs as well is just great. If we open it up and have a little look inside, in fact, let's just have a few little close-up looks at it first, because it is just awesome. So we've got the elementary bookshop there with a couple of minifigures outside. It's even, I assume this is an original feature. We've got a door that, we've got a little turning thing there, and we can have that door that lifts up and gives you, I don't know if that's an elevator or access to whatever is in behind there. There's a couple of areas where we could probably do with adding a couple of extra pieces in. You can see that's coming a little bit loose. So I think just a piece across there and a piece across on that side. We have got a few leftover pieces. We don't have any black, but we'll have some at the city just to hold that in place, just so that gets properly gripped in. But that whole area basically just pops off, I guess. Oh, crumbs. So I think on the original, if we get the box back out, you can see on the original that is flat, and it's been quite cleverly bent around the corner there, but we've got the bookshop and the bits above it still in its original shape. And then if you come around to this side, we have the door into the apartment, and then the apartment is above there. Some of the bits don't necessarily make sense, like we've still got the 2 little clips there that hold it together when it's a book Nook, and it says Baker here and Street over there. We've still got the Sherlock outline on there as well, but we can get into it the way you can any Lego modular. If we pop the top off, you can see that we do have a full interior. In fact, it's even easier to see the interior because these sides do just come off, so you can remove the side walls and actually get properly involved with what we've got going on in there. So we've got a little downstairs flat. I forget the name of the lady who lives downstairs in the TV show. I assume it's in the books. My only exposure is from watching the TV show, but that's where she lives, in that little apartment down there. Then we've got the stairs that lead up to Sherlock's apartment. We've got a little skeleton under the stairs. We've got a kitchen, which of course has a microscope on the table. I have no idea how much of this is in the original set. I assume not a lot, because I think it is just basically a facade. So I think all of the interior is Brick Artisan's incredible work. So we've got that little kitchen area and then the downstairs flat, like I say. And then in here, you've got the little living area. So we've got the fireplace, bookcases, a little seating area. Obviously, there's no bed. I mean, it's not designed to be a completely realistic, full-on modular. And we're never really going to open it up and look on the inside when we've actually got it in the city. But obviously, if you do peer through the windows, you will see that there's stuff inside, which I guess you don't get on this one. I guess on the original, it's more like what we've got here, where you look through that window and then you just have kind of this false wall situation where there's all kinds of shenanigans and bits and bobs going on in there. And I don't think there's any disputing that the final effect of it all is absolutely awesome, and I cannot wait to get this into the Lego City. I think when this set was first announced, the first instinct of a lot of people was it would be look really cool in a Lego City, modularized. And there you go. It's modularized and it's going into the Lego City. If you do want to make one of these for yourself, obviously the thing to do is to head down into the description where I'll post a link to the rebrickable design from Brick Artisan. Be aware, obviously, you do need to buy the additional pieces as well, but I think it is well worth it. It's come in at slightly more expensive than a normal Lego modular, but it's effectively a licensed modular because obviously we've got the Sherlock stuff in there as well. So you have to kind of compare it against the likes of, I guess, the Sanctum Sanctorum. And maybe if there was a DC modular coming out in the very near future that at the time of recording isn't officially announced, so I can't really talk about yet, but that's expensive. This comes in cheaper than that and arguably just as cool, although with fewer minifigures. So I am very, very happy. Hopefully you have enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments if you've built this one for yourself or if you've maybe done something else with your Sherlock book Nook. And definitely let me know of other cool rebrickable designs that I should be doing. I really enjoy doing these, and certainly it gives the city a little bit of character, makes the city a little bit more unique than just having it as a row of official Lego modulars. We get to mix things up a bit with some cooler, more unique stuff. So I think it's awesome. Very happy with it. Hopefully you have enjoyed the video. If you have, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for loads more Lego content. And thank you very much for watching.